What do the lads think about this Jaydon Sancho situation? So he's finally made the move back to Borussia Dortmund, and he's publicly congratulated on his move by Marcus Rashford, who's Mr. Manchester United, one of the highest paid players at the club, talisman. And obviously, given the fact that there's been a very public disagreement, what do we make of the fact that Rashford has publicly backed Sancho after telling the manager, Ten Hag, essentially to go and fuck himself?
Well, that's it. He's Mr. Man United, but he's not Mr. Ten Hag. And as a fan, I'd find this such a strange era to look at as a Man United era, because Rashford should be their not just talisman, it's everything, man. They've given him a huge contract. For me, he's easily the most talented forward in that team, and he just feels so kind of cut off from the manager, from the rest of the team. As United fans, I wonder how they feel about Sancho leaving, because I know he wasn't good. I know he's definitely not quick enough to be a winger in this league. He's still such a talented footballer, and when you're looking at this team, this Man United team that have lacked talented attacking players this season so much, like to watch him walk out the door on a loan to Dortmund, and God knows what his future is, by the way. Like, it's going to be so hard for them to shift him because of that contract. Who's going to pay him 350 grand a week? But there's no certainty that he's going to return to Man United. And for me, it feels like there's a core of players at Man United who are waiting for the manager to go. Sancho's one, Rashford's another.
You know why Rashford congratulated him? Because Rashford knows the truth.
Well, I think it's personally, and I know Manchester United fans were all over Twitter when I tweeted this out, you're delusional. Like, you don't want it to be the way it is, but you have to accept logic here. A player of Rashford's level, he can send a text message. It doesn't have to be public. It's public for a reason, and it's public because he wants the world to know, I'm backing you, bro. Well done. You got your move. That is an absolute fuck you to Ten Hag. Rashford easily could have just sent a text message. It's public for a reason, and I think that should worry Manchester United, and that's why Man United fans are coming after me by pointing it out, because they don't like the fucking truth. But the truth of the matter is, your guy is literally backing a lad from walking away from your manager. If that doesn't make you feel like there's a problem here, I don't know what does.
But mate, the weird thing about Man United fans, when you read about how they comment online, they've gone Ten Hag over Rashford.
Of course they have.
They've thrown Rashford to the wolves, mate. And I know he doesn't track back on him, but it's like, come on, this is your guy. This is your academy hero.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but the logic seems to be, these players down tools, they throw the manager under the bus. Last season, Rashford saved that club. Like, he dragged them to the Champions League spots. Without Rashford's goals last season, which have conveniently been forgotten because he's had a bad season this season, and it's all, so when it was last season, it was all Ten Hag's greatness. This season, it's all Rashford's fault for not scoring. There's no share of the blame, and it's fucking stupid. Like, it should be equal share. They both have responsibility.
It's not just Rashford and the other Man United and other Premier League footballers that you saw commenting on that post. There's been others that have made comments in the media. So, like the CEO of Borussia Dortmund, right, Hans Joachim, his name is, he said definitively, Jadon Sancho has no discipline problem. I have no idea who made up that story. You're a liar. You do have an idea who made up that story. His name's Ten Hag. But also, okay, don't just take his word for it, because he's got an interest. He's got a horse in the race, because now he's got him at Dortmund. But Ralf Rangnick said, in the months that I worked with Jadon Sancho, he didn't have one shred of a disciplinary problem, so I don't know where that's come from. Everyone around the player, like, it's becoming apparent, isn't it? Like, if a player does have bad discipline, like, mate, one of my pastimes is I watch, like, ex-Premier League footballers when they go on podcasts and stuff like that, and all the time they'll go, he was a brilliant player, but fuck me, he used to miss training all the time, this and that and whatever. They'll normally accept that sometimes a player can be really good, but the discipline wasn't there, the attitude wasn't there. It's almost the flip reversal of that. A lot of people are sort of looking at this going, okay, Sancho hasn't performed to the level, but there's been nothing wrong with his discipline, with his attitude, anything like that.
When Ten Hag brought Anthony in, that was his guy. And when he was challenged by Sancho, the loyalty was to his signing. So you were never going to win that. But, like, I think the question has to be, would Ten Hag have acted the way he did towards Sancho if he hadn't have just spent 85 million on Anthony, who he knew, I'm backing my guy over you no matter what the fuck you do, because he needs to work, because he needs to make me look good. So I think that it's just been an absolute mess.
I just think he doubled down on the on the words he said in that press conference. And Craig put it best, I remember you saying this after it. If Man United hadn't have just lost that game, and he's asked about Jadon Sancho, does he give that answer?
No.
He doesn't give that answer.
So specifically, though, in regards to Rashford, what do we make of him publicly saying, good look at your sort of shit.
I mean, there's always the thing of if anyone was or had the luxury of being able to put that question to Marcus Rashford, which, as we know from the media stuff, they wouldn't be able to. But if they did put that question to him, he would just say, "It's a teammate of mine. I wish every teammate well." That he would have his way of getting around.
But let's not make no mistake about it. Rashford was the only one. Because he's the one who knows, I've got a fucking 5-year deal, just signed it, mate. No one's fucking pushing me around, not even Ten Hag. I've got more power at this club than him, arguably, like in terms of longevity, in terms of it as an asset, in terms of how much money I can make the club, not only on the pitch, but in sale, not in shirt sales as well, but in a future transfer. So he's got the balls because of that power. But if he's putting that publicly, surely the other footballers at Manchester United are also...
100%. You know, it feels like he's the loud voice for what is probably a group of
players. He's standing on business.
100%, man. And it's the same as the nightclub pictures. You remember after a few losses, there was, Rashford pitching nightclubs at 3 a.m. It's like he knows he's doing that. Do you know what I mean? If he wants to go, he can go somewhere quiet 100%. Where he's not going to get papped. He knows he's going to get papped. It's all a play.
I've heard he likes to bring the ladies into the sort of VIP and all of that. Yeah, but popping bottles.
There's VIPs where you don't get your photo taken. When you're
called a strip club.
Yeah. Have we ever seen a saga like this before? Do you think the Sancho and Ten Hag one of this magnitude where a player's been frozen out for this period of time?
A player that valuable. That's the thing that gets it for me is how valuable Sancho could have been.
Do you remember the Tevez one when he refused to come on off the bench? In the Champions League.
I remember
Champions League, yeah.
Was he frozen out for months?
Who was the manager at the time? It was Man City. Tevez was on the bench against Bayern Munich in the Champions League.
I think it was Mancini.
I think it was Mancini asked him to come on and Tevez said no. Tevez said, no, there's no point in me coming on now. We're losing the game 10 minutes to go, whatever. And in the end, Tevez ended up coming back into the team.
Without apologising?
I don't think he did apologise.
What's in... Okay, fair enough. But what's interesting about this one is the context of... All right, you're freezing Sancho out because he didn't apologise. Cool, that's your right as a manager, okay? You want respect in the dressing room, we get that. But when the player you have replacing him, Anthony, has been that shit for that amount of money, it's starting to feel like you're cutting your nose to spite your face a bit, because really at the end of the day, I know there needs to be respect, like I said, but the greater good is the success of the team. Do you know what I mean? And they have, on the right, they're playing Garnacho there now. Anthony's been diabolical. Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, someone should have got them together a long time ago and sat them down and reconciled this.
Think how many players and people that have spent time around Jaydon Sancho are in the media doing punditry work and whatever. We've heard so many people come out now saying he has no disciplinary problems, he's not like that. We haven't heard one go, do you know what? He is a bit like that. We had a bit of trouble with him, whatever. So what I'm saying is, when you look at the fact that he hasn't apologised, why hasn't he apologised? I'll tell you what, I don't care whether everything in my life turns upside down. If I've not done something, I am not apologising for it.
And if you're such a rotten apple, Dortmund wouldn't have been in such a rush to take you back. They took him back and he got an assist straight away.
Yeah.
And I guarantee every time he gets a goal or an assist, Ten Hag will be like, fuck.
In football, things spread quickly behind the scenes. People know. They do the character profile now and all of these sorts of things, and they decide, is he good for the dressing room?
Joey was talking about earlier on about Joe Cole saying that the Chelsea squad really like Pochettino and that he's got them all together and they're a bit more of a team. It does feel that United are like the complete opposite, where it feels like every week you've got 50% of the players that are actively, I've heard that, I've seen tweets of people saying that like literally 50% of the squad are like sick of Ten Hag and they're ready for him to go. And it does feel with Ten Hag that he's a bit of a manager from a bygone era in the fact of, he's a disciplinarian. He runs his club like like that old school way, almost Sir Alex Ferguson-esque, but Sir Alex Ferguson was also a brilliant man manager and could also get
he got his signings right as well, so he didn't look stupid when he was doing this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it just feels to me like Ten Hag is going to be the one that will leave first.
Can I ask you a question? Let's say Sir Alex Ferguson was in the social media era. Would one of his main players be congratulating a lad who'd fucked him off so publicly?
No.
Publicly.
But
Sir Alex Ferguson would have dragged him in that fucking dressing room and kicked the shit out of him.
Players didn't have power back then like they do today, though. Players have a lot of power.
I think they did. I just think that Sir Alex got so much right. Well, he had more.
Not in that Man United squad. I remember him kicking David Beckham out of that team because he was fed up with him, because he had other players, because he didn't need David Beckham. We're watching this game right now. Who's starting for Man United left wing? Rashford. The problem is he's built such a poor squad that he can't, even the players he's gone to war with, even the players that are mugging him off on the internet, he has to play them because the players that he's brought in are so bad. And if you're Jim Ratcliffe, you'd be sitting here watching this, you'd be going, right, okay, I've got this, Rashford, highest paid player at the club, academy product. He should be a darling of the fan base, right? Not just because of the player, it's because of the stuff he's done off the pitch. And you've lost that. And if you want to reconnect the fans to the team, surely he's one of the pillars of that. You're looking at Jaydon Sancho, as we say, as soon as he's out the door to Dortmund, he's assisting goals again. You'd be looking at that and going, we've invested money in this big contract.
There's no way that Sancho would have done worse than Anthony. It's literally mathematically impossible.
So if you're Ratcliffe, you're looking at this going, right, okay, it's not just the older players who are fed up with Ten Hag here. It's the young, promising players that we're giving big contracts to. Or we've got the manager who keeps signing players like Anthony. Which horse do you back?
Well, it's an easy decision as well. And like Brailsford is in there right now, Team Sky, cycling, British cycling, amazing sort of like analyzer of people and gets the best out of organisations in the sporting world. He's in there doing the review right now, and you can absolutely be assured of the side that he's going to go down. You look at what's dysfunctional when it's the management of that football club. It's not necessarily always the players.